Low information voters.
Yeah.
Who?
How do you deal with that? I mean, you've got people who have been paying attention who are saying right now, I'm sick and tired of being abused and insulted and berated. But I look at some of my friends who are out in California, and they're just like, I'm going to vote for Biden. And I'm like, why? And they're like, because Trump's destroying democracy. And I'm like, how? And they're like, dude, are you serious? And I'm like, I am, dude. Oh, we got polls close in 14 seconds.
By the millisecond.
Oh, here we go.
Dude.
69 seconds.
The amount of information I have to give to someone to explain to them.
It's too much.
So what happens is you got a bunch of people sitting there, and then along comes Lady Gaga. And she's like, I'm going to vote for Joe Biden.
Smash
and
the
she
beer.
convinced 10 million people. I'm kidding. Nobody was convinced by that. But you do get a lot of celebrities. You get like Taylor Swift. And she comes out and says, vote Biden. And a bunch of low information voters are going to be like, yeah. And they're going to go vote.
Indeed. But low information voters, it sounds like an insult, but most people are rationally uninformed.
It's not an insult.
Right? They're rationally uninformed. It makes sense to not be informed. But the like, you even if you're quote uninformed, you still hear white guys are the devil, men are the devil, the patriarchy is the devil, and after a while you just get tired of being called the bad guy, and you're going to do something about it.
Yeah, but is the white working class, are the projections good for Trump in terms of white working class votes?
You know, I don't have the breakdown in front of me, Tim. My monitor went down. But, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting to see how the Latino vote turned out for Trump in Florida. We talked about that here after one of the debates when the Telemundo poll afterwards said that Trump decisively won.
It was a Twitter poll.
But
it is Spanish speakers who are following Telemundo, not English speakers. So
Indeed. And, you know, we talked about there how, like, Latino culture is based in machismo. It's based on strong male leadership. They're Christians, they're Catholics. They're not into a lot of modernity, as it were. And so it was always seemed like it's just stupid to me to have Latino voters just lumped in with POCs and immigrants and,
They're
you know,
not the
African Americans who've
same.
been
Yeah,
here
not
since
at all.
the, you know, 19,
Not at all the same.
You know, it's not at all the same. And so there's the like, you know, critical race mongers on Twitter are already saying like, oh, Cubans aren't actual real Latinos. And now Latino voters are the erasure. This is the great erasure of the Latino vote.
they're saying Cubans aren't Latinos now.
No, they're not.
A lot of these woke people are like,
That's
they are not
amazing
Latinos.
to me. That's shocking to me. And that disgusts me because those are the people who survived socialism. Those
So-
are the people who survived, who came across on
going on
rafts.
here? Well,
give me a
remember-
break.
It looks like Trump is winning Ohio.
Joe
yeah.
Biden. Remember that Joe Biden said that, you know, the Latino community is a very diverse community with very
was right about
diverse
that.
thoughts
He was right
and
about that.
yeah. I mean, but you know the African American community,
Unlike the other community,
they're a
of people.
monolith,
Yeah, give me a
You
break.
ain't black. You ain't black.
which is just you know they were saying, oh, they didn't mean like culturally. He meant politically. It's like that's still bad.
Right.
That's still not a good thing to say. I mean, everybody. You can't lump everybody into one community. You know, or it's just. I do not understand how anybody can hear all these things about Joe Biden and say, well, you know, Trump's the racist. Yeah, I don't understand how people come to that conclusion.
Up is down, down
TV,
is up.
low information voters. So look, when I say low information voters, I'm not saying stupid voters. I'm saying
Right.
They just don't have
most
all the
people,
facts.
it's not their job to read the news all day, every day. So I was actually insulting my friend. He's like, I got no idea what I'm doing. But there are a lot of people who are like, wow, it sounds like what they're saying on the news is really bad. I better go vote. And then so I'll put it this way. I believe it is a lot easier to get a low information voter motivated to vote how you want than it is to convince them with all of your knowledge and information to vote correctly.
Well, there's another term
I
for
shouldn't say
low
correctly,
information
but
voter.
in their interests.
There's another term for low information voter, and that's sheep. You know, and that's the problem when you watch CNN and you go, wow, they're saying all these things and
Right.
I'm not gonna,
Orange men bad.
I'm not going to look it up. I'm not going to. I mean, I'm just
Right.
going to take their word for it because you know it's their CNN.
Well, when you don't actually watch Trump's speeches and you only listen to what CNN is saying about him, because I notice that when people pay attention to what Trump is actually saying, when they go and listen to his speeches, they're like, "Ooh, wow,
Well,
that's not right."
That's an interesting point,
Right.
Because there was when Trump had that rally in Tulsa a few months ago, back in June, I guess May or June, CNN didn't show the speech. What they showed was a wide shot of the speech. And they were commenting on what he was saying. So when Trump said something like, I tell them, the more cases, more testing we have, the more cases we have. So slow the testing down, please. And that was a joke.
Right.
It was a stupid joke. It's something he shouldn't have said. But then CNN goes, you hear that? He said it. He said to slow the testing down. Can you believe it? It's like he said the quiet part out loud. And it's like, if you watched him say it compared to, what CNN is saying and how they're spinning it. And that's the thing. They don't show what he says. They just say what he wants to say.
The disinfecting thing I thought was interesting because it's almost like a bell curve of a stupid question where on the really high end, you probably roll your eyes and say, Trump, no. But then at a certain point, you're like, it's good that you're asking these questions because we ask weird questions sometimes to try and come up with solutions. And then it was really funny that a bunch of Trump supporters started showing UV light disinfectants that you actually do put down your lungs. They exist. And
They
that
do
there
exist.
are
They're really interesting.
there are chemical treatments that you could inject. But what Trump was talking about and the way he asked it was just like, they were like, you can use surface cleaners to disinfect things. And Trump's like, I wonder if you can, disinfect by injecting or inhaling. And it's like,
yeah.
It's like, that's called medicine.
Right.
Yeah, just calm down there,
Interestingly,
bucko.
though, all these Trump supporters immediately found this new technology, which is a UV light wand. They lower down the throat into the lungs because it actually does disinfect and kill bacteria and stuff.
Kind of cool.
It's like Trump accidentally was kind of onto something.
And before I go, I want to say that, at the debate, when Joe Biden keeps saying this, he's like, well, he said it. You heard him say it. He said he told people to inject bleach to kill the virus. It's like, he didn't say that, right? So at the debates, Biden goes, he said it. He said it over there. He said to inject it. And he's like, it was a joke. It's like, no, it wasn't a joke. You didn't say it.
Right, yeah.
You didn't say, Trump, he's
I know, right?
It's so hard. It's so hard to defend him sometimes. You're
It
just
really
like,
is.
what?
You don't have to defend him.
No, I want to defend him because look, all these fact checks from the last debate, it had Trump going, this Trump said this thing. This is false, definitively false. But with Biden, it's like needs context.
How come no one
slightly misleading?
You know what really has me ticked off? There's one fact check they never did. And they never fact check when Joe Biden on a stage at a rally said, Trinidad a Shabbat of pressure.
No.
No fact check.
What are we supposed to do with that?
No, but I mean, to be fair, the media didn't say anything. Trump says Kafifi, they put on Wikipedia.
Right.
They named
Literally,
horses
yeah.
after it. They're all like, Kafifi, what an idiot. It was clearly a typo on Twitter, dude.
Well, my thing is that, Joe Biden has been he was in the Senate for 36 years. He was vice president for 8 years. And now he's gonna.
Right?
Now finally he's gonna bring everybody. Sure.
I know, right?
I'm imagining. It's like Joe Biden looks at his watch. He looks up at a calendar and he marks a day and it says 47 years. And then he goes, today's finally the day. And then he circles the day and it's like, do things for people. And that was it. Now he's like, I'm going to
do stuff for people.
I saw you look at your digital watch, and that reminds me when Biden looked at his digital watch, and I'm thinking, were there notes on his little Apple Watch?
I wonder,
was
right?
somebody nobody questioned this? Was somebody sending him little texts
his
name's not George, it's Trump. Just a heads up, just remember.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. So come back to check us out when we go live. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and we are also available on all podcast platforms for free if you want to listen to us there. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.